What is up, Bills Mafia? We have 136 days to go until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57, and this channel is going to document every single day leading up to that amazing moment with a video. In this case, it's a live stream tonight. I decided to go live because I want to check out these Miami Dolphins on Thursday night to see just how good they are after they absolutely manhandled the Bills last Sunday in Miami. I'm watching the Bengals tight end just go down the field like no one's business for a first down. It's the first drive of the game. Yeah, I want to check in and see how these Dolphins do after that battle against the Bills. I am not a believer in their 3-0 status. I don't think a lot of people are. Most people on this telecast picking the Dolphins to lose this game. I think one guy out of the 6 picked the Dolphins to win. Joe Burrow's in the pocket right now. They just crossed midfield. Empty set. Sends it out to T. Higgins, and T. Higgins, oh, what a shame. T. Higgins just smoked a guy in the flat and then tripped. Otherwise, he would have gotten a lot more. Got a couple people watching. But again, this is just a check-in. I'll talk some Buffalo Bills football here while I watch this game. I'll mention the game a little bit as I go along. As if all us Bills fans are probably watching this game for one reason and one reason only, and that is to see if the Dolphins can continue their streak of good luck. I mean, come on. I'll go over a little bit more of what I'm thinking post-Bills Dolphins 3-4 days after here in a second. We've all talked about it. We all have our take on what happened, what didn't happen, what should have happened, what could have happened. But again, it's going to be interesting to see what the Dolphins do tonight. Some encouraging news and not so encouraging news along the injury front when it comes to Buffalo. Apparently, we're going to be getting Ed Oliver back. Getting some other of our homies back. It looks like Dane Jackson's going to be back. Also, who else do I hear is coming back? I can tell you who's not coming back. Jordan Phillips isn't coming back, but I guess he's getting closer. Also, Christian Benford, I think. He's going to be out for 2 or 3 weeks. Is that something when you're like hanging your hopes on a rookie quarterback to come back? That's when you know the injuries are bad on your team, is when you're like, oh man, we got to get that rookie back in the lineup. Dolphins just got a called for personal foul, and the Bengals are right down the field. They got the ball 1st and 10 at the 15. Burrow's in the pocket, mixing to his right. Back to pass. Lobs it up, and it's through the end zone, but it looks like a flag on the play, and I think the Dolphins might have jumped off sides. Also, injury-wise, one that's kind of concerning is Gabe Davis has something wrong with his ankle. We gotta get Gabe Davis back. I said before the season it would have been nice to pick up one other, top wide receiver somewhere, somehow. There were a few floating around out there. The Bills, of course, got Jamison Crowder, and he's been efficient, but it would have been nice to, I don't know, bring in somebody that was, a stud at the wide receiver position. I understand. Another penalty. No, Tyler Boyd out for the pass. It was 1st and 5. Now it's 2nd and 5. Anyway, Gabe Davis, I just hope this isn't a lingering thing, and then he'll get back on the field. He could play Sunday against the Ravens. And then, there's some other small injuries. I think we had 15 guys on the injury report this past week. Hand off to Mixon. Mixon looks like he might have a first down. So injuries. We all said going into the season that injuries were going to be the key as it always is for all teams. You got to have a healthy team to go deep into the playoffs. It's a good thing that all this is happening now. Back to that Dolphins game. We all know that everything went perfectly for the Dolphins in that game. From, of course, going into the game with the Bills missing a lot of key players to the injuries that the Bills got during the game, the fact that they were playing a game in that heat, but more importantly than that, the stadium is built so the sun shines on the visiting side of the field. So that definitely was a problem. Add in that some pretty questionable calls by the referees and no calls by the referees. I don't want to, sit here and complain about our loss to the Dolphins any more than I have to, but that's just something that continues to go through my mind until we play on Sunday against the Ravens, is just how much lined up for the Dolphins in that game you had. And then, with all those things that the Dolphins got going in their favor, it still took a Bills team to make mistakes to fall short. And the ironic thing is the Dolphins, even as inept as they were and being unable to punt the ball out of their own end zone at the very, very end, that punt going out of the end zone actually, I think, benefited them. Otherwise, the Bills would have had the ball right there. Look at Mixon just get pushed right into the end zone for a touchdown. Nice. Very, very nice. You got Joe Mixon on your fantasy team, so you got some points there. Yeah, right down the field. A lot of teams do that. They go right down the field on the opening drive. So we'll wait and see. What we really want to see is Tua. Oh, there's another part of that game from Sunday. Tua. How's he going to play with his bad back? I mean, listen, I didn't want Tua to go out of that game. I wanted the Bills to beat the Dolphins with their best. And Tua playing or not playing really made no difference to me. But the Dolphins knew that they could not win that game. They would not have a chance without Tua. So what kind of shenanigans did the Dolphins pull to get him onto the field after it was obvious to everyone that was not a back problem that he jumped up and started staggering with? That was, he got knocked out. And like a fighter trying to get back to his feet in a championship fight, a title fight, Tua staggered around trying to tell the referee, I'm okay. Well, he wasn't okay, and the Dolphins, I think, could be in a bit of trouble for putting a guy back out on the field that was in that condition. And, of course, if, the Dolphins had played it fair, played it right, Tua wouldn't have been in the second half, and the Buffalo definitely would have won that game despite all the things that were stacked against them. So that's old news now. We move on to the Baltimore Ravens, and I think a lot of us are, worried that we're going to go down again, because the Ravens are a very good team. Lamar Jackson, of course, is a dynamic quarterback. I think he's feast or famine. I think he's either going to be a game breaker and have a super game, which super for him is 212 yards passing and 120 yards rushing. Or he's going to have one of those games where he's sacked 5-6 times, cannot get downfield on his runs, might have a couple big runs. He'll have his 40, 50, 60 yards rushing, but other than that, Jackson has many games where he's thrown, under 50%, and I think that is more likely the case that we're gonna see happen on Sunday than see Jackson go wild, because Buffalo's defense, even with all the injuries, is still stout, especially along the defensive front. I mean, with Ed Oliver back, Tim Settle, Daquan Jones, along with Ed Russo, Greg Rousseau, who's really coming on now. Obviously, Von Miller Matt Milano. Those guys are the reason right now that Buffalo can get by with the injuries that they have to their secondary, because those guys make it tough for quarterbacks to get the ball off. I mean, they didn't get to Tua as much as I would have liked to have seen, but they only rushed 4. I don't think they blitzed at all. I'd love to know if they did or not. And if somebody's watching this, or when somebody watches this, if you know how many times the Bills blitzed, let me know. I was trying to find that, and I didn't really see any statistics on that. I don't know where to look for it. Okay. So Tua's coming onto the field now. And not that one drive is going to tell me all I need to know, but one drive could tell me all I need to know about who the Dolphins are in this game. And the Bengals defense has not given up a touchdown in the last 20 drives. Not that means a ton, but, it means something. Tua, 1st and 10 in his own 25, hands off to Mostert, and he plows ahead for a nice gain of 7. So a good first down play for the Dolphins. And, of course, we want the Dolphins to lose, because then we can climb into a tie with them for the AFC East lead with a win over the Ravens. Of course, we'll still be in second place by virtue of our loss to the Dolphins, which just is so hard to say. It's so hard to say we lost to the Dolphins. All right, 2nd down and 3. Tua play action fake, throws over the middle, and he hits Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill is got some yardage. Looks like he threw it behind Tyreek. I'm not so sure it was a bad pass. It looks like he threw it behind him, but he may have had to throw it behind him based on the coverage where the guy was. Let's take a look at the replay. Yeah. No, that was actually, you didn't throw it behind him. It was a perfect pass, quite honestly, from the coverage. So Tua, Tua's playing some ball. He's playing some ball. So far, so good. He's back to pass again, zips it in there. And there's Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle, well, not Jalen Waddle, but I think Tyreek Hill already has more yards in this game than he had against the Bills. Jalen Waddle, I think, has about a third of the total yards he had against the Bills now, in a couple plays. So first down, Dolphins. Boy, they're all the way down to the Bengals' 22-yard line already. Tua back to pass. His pass is tipped at the line of scrimmage, and he's lucky that falls incomplete. Nice play, a fake. And then Tua zips it out to Sherfield. And he's got a first down. So, like I said, I can make an assessment on the first drive of the game by the Dolphins, and they look sharp. They really look sharp. You know what else looks sharp is those Bengals uniforms. I like that, the all white. I think they should stay with that. It looks kind of like got that Penn State look to it, and I like Penn State. All right, nice fake handoff to Mostert, pitch to Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill gets chopped down for a yard loss. So the Ravens coming up, and as I said, Lamar Jackson, the Ravens go as far as Lamar Jackson will take them. I saw what the Bills were able to do to Jackson in that playoff game, and of course it was in Buffalo. And the Ravens actually played a pretty good game defensively as well, which is a whole other part of this game that's, a key factor, and that's the Ravens defense isn't very good. Tua throws over the middle to Edmonds, and Edmonds takes it to about the 4-yard line, and it looks like it'll be 3rd down and 2 at the 4. Now the Dolphins moved right down the field. And I think the over-under on this game was like 44. I think those who took the under are sweating a little bit right now. So we'll see. But 2 of 4 of 4 on this first drive of the game. 3rd and 4 from the 5. First down at the 1-yard line. Tua back to pass. Lobs it in the end zone. Oh, no. That should have been a touchdown. Dropped by Edmonds. A super pass by Tua. Put it right on the money. I'll have to look at the replay, figure out what this guy did on this play. Oh, yeah. Just flat out drops it. Wow. That's bad stuff right there. That is really, really bad. Dang, dude. Dang. That was a super big drop by the Dolphins receiver or Dolphins running back Edmonds in the corner of the end zone. So the Dolphins line up for a field goal. It's a chip shot, and they got it 7-3. So back to the Ravens game coming up on Sunday. Let's chat up that a little bit. You hear it all the time. If the Bills can contain Lamar Jackson, not give up a bunch of big runs, and get to him in the pass rush so he's not hitting his tight end Mark Andrews. I don't even know who else this team has on offense besides Mark Andrews. They put up a ton of points on the Dolphins. So the Ravens have a pretty good offense. And they can score on Buffalo, but the question is, obviously, beyond can the Bills stop the Ravens? The question is, can the Ravens stop the Bills? If Gabe Davis is not playing in this game, of course, that is a question mark. And I think his general overall absence in this past game was apparent. I mean, he did kind of, I would say, drop a touchdown pass against the Dolphins. And other than that, I mean, he had a couple catches. I can't remember how many, but he definitely was not a big factor. All right, so the Dolphins are about middle. They middle it with the offense. And the Ravens, the Ravens have very good offense. Top 4. So if the Ravens can, keep scoring, they should be able to keep themselves in the game. But that's going to all depend, again, on Lamar Jackson. Now, the Bills on offense, everybody's talking about how they need to get a running game going. Every time the Bills lose, they talk about how they need to get a running game going. And I think the running game is fine. I thought that they struggled this last game, but of course we had like 4, 5, 6 guys cycling in and out of the offensive line because of injuries and heat exposure. But a running game against the Ravens would be nice. I think that would definitely go a long way with Buffalo keeping their offensive prowess alive. And the more that they can run the ball, the easier it'll be for Josh Allen to pass the ball. All right, so again, if you're checking in, I'm just watching this game here on Thursday night to see what kind of Dolphins team shows up after they stole a win in Miami against the Bills. And their first drive was solid. A drop touchdown pass. Now, Burrow throws over the middle, throws high, almost got his wide receiver, Jamar Chase, killed. That was not too nice of a pass by Burrow. And then you think about the Josh Allen pass at the goal line when he should have hit Isaiah McKenzie for what would have been the winning touchdown probably. That was disappointing. That was like the worst pass Josh Allen has thrown perhaps since he's been a Buffalo Bill. I'm still not exactly sure what happened there. 2nd down and 10. Burrow back to pass. Throws it short to Mixon. Mixon makes a move and gets upfield and gets about 8 yards. Nice play by Mixon. It's hard to believe that a few years ago that guy clobbered a young blonde girl, knocked her out at McDonald's. That was crazy. And he does that to a female, and he's a star in this league. And then Ray Rice, as we all know, his career ended when he clobbered a female in an elevator. I'm not sure why one guy gets off virtually scot-free and the other one has his career ended. Burrow swings it out to the aforementioned Mixon. Nice play. Gets the first down. And the Bengals are driving again. So I don't know if you could say that the Dolphins' defense was really that great against the Bills, but they got the plays when they needed them. Of course, the statistics say that they weren't. 31 first down for the Bills, almost 500 yards. But they got to Allen. They got to him quite a few times. They put a lot of pressure on him. But Allen beat the blitz. Unfortunately, like I said, it was just too many plays that the Bills, failed on when they really needed to, punch it in. Missed field goal. That bad pass I just said that Allen had. The play at the end of the first half, that was really weird. Should have kicked a field goal there. All right, so 7-3. Bengals winning. 4 minutes to go. I think I'll do the first quarter here. And then my video tomorrow will just kind of assess what we're looking at in the AFC East, depending on if the Dolphins can pull this one out. Burrow back to pass, steps up, and yikes, that was bad. He whips it out to a tight end that was 4 feet from him, and he just zipped it right by his face. Incomplete. 3rd and 8. So there's a great conversation to have. So after the first 3-4 weeks of the season, who has the best quarterback? I would say it is between Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Who else do you throw in there? You throw Tua in there? Definitely not Joe Burrow. Ugh. Definitely not Justin Herbert. All right, so the Dolphins their drive completely just falls flat here. And they got a punt. We'll see what the Dolphins do on this drive. I'll stick around for one more drive. See what we're looking at. See if the Dolphins can make some hay. Dude, Fair catches it at his own 12. That's where the Dolphins will start their second drive. So a very, very intriguing situation in the AFC East now with the Dolphins pulling out a big win against the Bills. A lot of people really, really doubting that the Dolphins are going to be able to sustain that, but their schedule apparently is a lot easier coming up here over the next 4 or 5 weeks. Let's see who the Dolphins have coming up. They got the Jets after this. Vikings. The Vikings are playing good football. They are playing in Miami, though. And they got the Steelers. They go on the road to play the Lions. They're playing some decent football. Then the Bears. Then they're home against the Browns. I don't have much hope of the Browns going in there and winning. Then they play the Texans. And then they play on the road at the Niners. So, yeah, the Dolphins have a very favorable schedule. And then they play the Bills again on December 18th. So that's the game. As far as I am concerned, most Bills fans now have circled on the schedule. Forget the Packers, forget the Chiefs. Let's get those stinking Phins back here. Let's get them into Buffalo. And it's in December too. So hopefully somehow, some way they can make things extra cold for the Dolphins on the visitors' sideline. All right, here we go. Tua coming out for his second drive. This will end my stream here when their drive ends. Looking forward to all the things I've got coming up over the next few days, including going live for the Baltimore Ravens Buffalo Bills game. Hand off to Mostert. Boy, he just knifes through the Bengals defense for a nice 12-yard gain. Flag down, though. Looks like it's holding against the Dolphins. That'll kill a drive every time. It'll be 1st and 20 for the Dolphins. And it's going to be back, I think, at their own 8-yard line. Tell you, that Dolphins coach, you got to look like an NFL coach when you coach. You cannot look like you work for Google in the IT department. One of the strangest looking coaches I think I've seen in the NFL ever. What other coaches have ever coached in the NFL that have just not looked like an NFL coach? Is there anybody more than that guy? All right, it's 1st and 16 because it was half the distance to the goal line after that holding. 3 minutes, 12 seconds left in the first quarter. Ball at the 7-yard line. Call it the 6. Tua in the shotgun. Tyreek in motion. Fake to him. Then he swings it out to Tyreek. Boy, that dude's fast. and he gets about 4 yards, 5 yards. He was kind of hemmed in. He still just zipped around a defender for a little bit of a gain. Second and 13, he gets 3 yards on the play. I'll tell you, Tua looks composed, man. I mean, he really looks like the game's slowing down for him. I had little hope for Tua being a starter in the NFL, and so far, he's shown that he can, handle some pressure. All right, looks like there's another timeout by the Dolphins. I think the crowd's really starting to have a bit of a factor there in Cincinnati. Who they say they're going to beat them Bengals. Some other thoughts about the Bills-Ravens game coming up on Sunday. Von Miller has somewhat disappeared. Now, when I say disappeared, that's a little harsh. He, of course, has not had any big impact plays in the last couple games. He came out like he was shot out of a howitzer in the first game. Second game, he definitely contributed on that defensive side of the ball. The last game, though, the only play I remember that Von Miller had a really nice play on was when the Dolphins were backed up in their end zone, and he was rushing Tua, and Tua just barely got the ball over Von Miller. Would have been great if somehow he had been able to just pluck that pass out of the air and just landed for a nice touchdown, but that didn't happen. So that'll be interesting to see if Von Miller steps up in this game. At his age, it must be getting harder and harder to maintain a high level as the games progress. So it'll be, I think wise of the Bills to use him in the right situations at the right time rather than completely burning him out. It's a long season, 17 games. Beyond Von Miller, Tremaine Edmonds, he had like an okay game, but for where he was drafted and what his expectations were, I would love to see that dude just really have many, many more big, memorable plays in these games. So Tremaine Edmonds, it'd be nice to see him have a nice game in Baltimore. All right, second and 13 after the timeout. Dolphins at their own 10. Let's see what Tua can do here. Takes a snap, back to pass, steps up in the pocket, throws. Beautiful pass. Beautiful pass to Mike Gesicki as Tua was hit. He threw it over the linebackers and dropped it in front of the DBs. Super nice touch. Just a beautiful pass. I mean, just a solid NFL level pro quarterback pass. All right, it is 1st and 10 at the Dolphins 31. Tyreek in motion. Hand off to Mostert, and he just gets swallowed up by Bengals. It'll be second down, maybe 10. Hold on a second, I got a call. All right, so this is going to end my stream because I got some family stuff to do, but like I said, I'll stick around to the end of this drive. A fake to Mostert. Back to pass. Tua going deep, and he hangs it up. He just throws a pop fly, underthrows Tyreek Hill, and it's intercepted. And there's the one that's a great play to end this stream on. That is the one thing that I think Tua lacks, and that's the ability to go deep. We saw it in preseason with that video that went viral. Let's watch he had all the time in the world to throw, and he totally that will be talked about tomorrow. Big time. Tyreek Hill is open, and Tua cannot get the ball there. Josh Allen with a flick of the wrist hit Tua, hit Tyreek Hill on that route, and the mechanics looked all off on that throw too. It was like he was throwing off his back foot, and he had a platform to throw that football from. Okay, so that makes me feel good, seeing Tua do that at the very end of this stream. I really hope you guys, if you stuck around and get to see it, or if you're watching it now, didn't mind me talking a little Dolphins football. So, Buffalo Bills, Ravens on Sunday. For now, I'll see you tomorrow.